back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you guys a whole lot for subscribing to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. Okay, so now in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to carefully and beautifully, if I will use that word, or neatly rather, fold your fabric, your children dresses, your flares with crinoline. So you could see the picture up there. So that's what I'm going to be showing you how to do today. It's really simple and easy, and most of this kind of design is usually used for children's dresses, and then it's also used for sleeve designs also. So that's what we're going to be doing today. If you are new to my channel, this is the first time of you coming across Stylish Nigeria YouTube channel, I appreciate if you hit on the subscribe button to make and then hit on the bell also to get an update whenever I upload a new video. I was running faster than myself. Okay, so now let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut the flare that we're going to be attaching the crinoline to. So this is my crinoline now. Okay, so for this flare, so I'm not, the essence of this screen of this video is actually the folding part. So this kind of flare, they are usually cut at, you can normal, you are going to cut like an 360-degree flare, like four, and then you join all of them together to get that bulkiness. You can even cut six and then you join all of them. So for this tutorial, I'm just going to cut two and then join them for you to see. Okay, so now let's just do our flare. So please make use of your own applicable measurement. So that's my radius of the flare. And then this is the length of my flare. So I'm using 9 inches. So I have a very detailed video of how to cut different types of flare. So I'm going to drop it in the description box. So this is the first one here. So you see what I have now. So I'm going to cut two of these, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to join them together to give us the fullness that we want. So this is 360 degree. So if you cut out to that two, it's going to be 720. So you see what I have now. So I have two flares now. So for this kind of dress, like the picture that you have up there, what was done in one layer, you have about three flare, and then the second one, that's three flare, regular flare like this. So here I have two. So but for the picture up there, what was actually used was three flares. So you are going to cut out like three, and then you are going to join all of them to form one level. And then the second one also, you have about three flare. If you want it fuller, you can do four flare, and then you join them together. And then here is how you join them together. You're just going to pick a part. So let's take this straight part, and then we're going to cut it like this. So you see, when you cut it open like this, it's going to be long. So you join them together like this on this part. So you see how long the flare is looking now. So you see, so by the time we turn it with crinoline, it's going to look bulky. So I'm going to take this to the machine. We're going to join it. So let's just keep this on the side, and let's cut out our satin. So for this, you actually have two ways of actually doing this. So I think, let me just explain it. The other one, the other way of doing this, when you are cutting a flare like this, you are going to make sure you measure your crinoline. So for this, the crinoline I'm actually using is 2 inches crinoline, and it's a little bit thick and bulky. So for this, you are going to add the 2 inches extra to your length. You add an extra 2 inches to your length, because when you fold it with the crinoline, you are going to want to turn it like this. So there are some patterns that you turn, while there are some that you are just going to fix the crinoline around it like this. As you sew it like this, if you are not going to turn it, you don't need to increase the length. You're just going to sew the crinoline round like this, and then you stitch it here. So that's one, but the one we're doing today is the one that they actually cover up the crinoline. So that's the one we're going to be doing. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut out our satin. So for this, I'm using scrap fabric, so I don't have pink satin, so we're going to be using the black satin. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut our satin on bias form. We're going to cut it on bias form. So and then we're going to cut it the length of our satin, oh sorry, the length of our crinoline two times. So you could see what I'm trying to say like this. So that means I'm going to cut out 4 inches of satin. So let me fold it and then show you how to cut on bias. So you just fold it like a triangle and then you measure out your 4 inches. So I'm going to cut it 4.5 because of the stitch that I'm going to add. So I've cut out one, so I'm going to cut out more so that I'll have enough to turn the down of my organza. Okay, so we'll go over to the machine and go and start joining them. Okay, so let me do little explanations before we continue. So you see my satin, so I've joined them together. So if you are using 3 piece or 4 piece, you join all of your pieces together, and then my satin also, I've joined them together, all of them into a long, very long strap. So you could see, so you see it's cut on bias form, it's not straight. So because if it is straight, it will not be able to go through the satin and through your organza properly. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to start stitching. So this is the right side of my satin, of my organza, and then this is the right side of my satin. So here's what I'm going to do now. So this is the down part. So this is going to stay like this here. So I just want you to note. So it's going to stay like this because we're going to be stitching it around like this. We're going to be stitching it round from the right side, then we'll take it to the wrong side. So I want you to get it right. This is the right side of my satin, my organza, and then this is the right side of my satin. So this one is facing like this. So now our crinoline is going to come in now. The crinoline is going to come on top. It's going to come on top of this part like this. So the reason why the satin is big is because when we turn it in now, it's going to cover. So that is why. So I want the satin to everything to cover to go into it. So that is why it is like that. So now we're going to start stitching now. So I'm going to take this now and then place like this. So we're going to stitch it around the whole organza that we have. And then note, when you are stitching, please don't pull it. You're just going to keep going gently. Don't pull it. So at the end of the day, so you see how it's going to stay. See, it is going to cover, and then you're going to have that bulky effect. So I've almost showed the end of the video. So let's just keep going until we are done. Okay, so in this first way of sewing this crinoline with this organza, so after stitching it like this, you are going to take this now and then you are going to stitch here like this. So I just want you to see it. So you see this extra one, you're just going to sew it now, let it be so it stays here, just like stitching it along the same line. So that's what we're going to do now, just to secure it down. So as you're stitching, don't pull, don't push. So you see our satin is still full. It's just on the organza, our organza is still full. It's just the satin part that we're still dealing with. So I'm just using this to do like a top stitch it down. So I'm just going to go through the whole length again. So you just keep stitching. So make sure you don't push, don't pull it, just keep stitching it. Okay, so you could see I finished stitching it. So you see, so if you have any excess, you just trim them. The next thing you are going to do now, you're just going to take this like this, and then you are going to start stitching. So for this, you will use a very matching thread, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to use my black thread so you will be able to see it. So you are just going to turn it like this, and then you start matching it down on the edge. So I hope you can see it on the edge so closely. Just make sure that you use your hand to stretch out the organza nicely, and then with a very clean stitch on top, you're just going to start stitching like this so you could see how it is looking. So as you stitch, you notice that the bulkiness of the fabric is coming out, so you could see it. So you just keep going like that. Make sure you use your hand, stretch it out so you don't have any excess. So you see, you stretch it out nicely like this. Make sure for this part you stretch it out, and then stitch as close so you could see how neat and beautiful and bulky it is looking. So you just keep doing it until you get to the end of the other part. So I'll just keep going. So once I'm done, I'll come back and show you. Just okay. So you see, I'm done. So I'm going to place it on the mannequin for you to see it properly and nicely, and then I'll iron it. And then the other way of fixing that I was trying to explain to you initially, that's the other way for the second picture on the thumbnail. So this is how that one is actually fixed. But like I said, if you are going to be doing that one, you are going to need two ways. You are going to need one, you are going to need to increase the length of your satin or chiffon. But if you are not increasing it, this is the second way of doing it. You're just going to do it a top stitch like this. So I'll show you now. You fold like this on the edge like this. So this one obviously is quite easy to do. So once you get it to the end like this, so you cut, and then this is what you have now. So what you have now, you're just going to you're going to you're going to take it like this now. So sorry. You're going to take it like this now, what you have, and then you're going to stop stitch it this way. So you see what I'm trying to do like this. You bend it this way, and then you top stitch it. See it like this. You bend it inward and then top stitch it so it sits. So it sits perfectly well. So you bend it in. Okay, so after stitching it like this the first time, you are going to turn it like this. So we're going to do a top stitch now. So the top stitch is going to come to this part. So you can decide to trim out any excess that you have on this part. Just trim them all off like this. And then you do a top stitch here. Just open it up like this and top stitch it. So you could see, open it flat like this. And then you top stitch it on the side where you have the satin or your organza or your taffeta, depends on the fabric, even your ankara. So after top stitching it like this is how it will look like, and then you turn it like this and then you stitch it down. So this is actually the one that does not have, this one does not have satin covering. So you could see from two different pictures. So you just take it very neatly along the edges. So I'm just using this black thread. Normally you should use a very matching thread. So I want it to be obvious. So you just open it. So you see it's bending a little bit. But you're just going to keep sewing, but don't pull it. So at the end of the day, so you see how it is folding and looking beautiful. So this is how you just go ahead. So I'm going to take the other piece and then I'm going to, so you see at the end of the day, see this is how it will look like on your dresses. So you could see how very spiral it is looking. So I'll place the other one on the mannequin so you see it. Okay, so at the end of the day, so you could see how, so after I just did a little gathers around the waist, so you could see how it is looking bulky and standing. So this is how you actually sew and then turn with your satin. So this is the other one. You know, remember the small version that I did. So this is the one that does not have any covering on it. It does not have any satin, but you see it is still looking, even though my organza is small, but it's still looking very standing. And so these are just like the two ways of doing this. So thank you so much. If you find this video helpful, I would appreciate if you hit on the like button to make me know you appreciate what I did with this video. So thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.